Good morning. Could you please introduce yourself?
My name is Darren Saywell. I'm the WASH CLTS Technical Director at Plan International in the USA.
Okay, Darren, why is monitoring important for you?
Monitoring is important for me personally as a way in which we can drive stronger accountability around the work that we're doing within the WASH sector. And I think it's important and imperative within the WASH sector as a way in which we ensure sustainability of provision, accountability of our duty bearers, and being much smarter about the way in which we invest in either infrastructure or in our operation and maintenance or in our long-term capital management.
Okay, could you give some examples of how you're carrying out monitoring at the moment within Plan?
Well, it's been very interesting to read the background papers, particularly the one that was written by Harold Lockwood, and he talked about INGOs doing some very typical and not particularly innovative project-led monitoring. And, you know, regrettably, I could see a lot of what Plan is doing in that, and that's I guess, to be expected. We have accountability to institutional donors, but we also have accountability to the people who are sponsoring the children in the communities that we're working with. I think more broadly, Plan is changing the way in which it's looking at monitoring. We're trying to drive much sharper sort of analysis into our technical programming, and we're trying to look much longer term on the evaluation side of M&E. So we're going back to communities 5 or 8 years after we've started to intervene and working with communities to understand what impact there has been from the work that we've taken forward. So sort of pushing the boundaries a little bit more in evaluation. I think we're doing steady but rather uninspiring work on monitoring. And I'll leave it there. I'll probably get into trouble with my colleagues on that, but yeah, I'll try to be frank and objective with you.
Okay, that's great. How would you like to see monitoring take place in the future? I
think here I can sort of step outside of my Plan International work area and talk a little bit from the perspective of sanitation and water for all, which I'm also involved in as Vice Chair. I think one of the things that we're interested to promote whilst we're within this symposium is a push towards a harmonisation and a standardisation of the monitoring landscape. So I think that one of the things that we've seen during the last few days is a very fragmented and duplicative monitoring landscape, and we need to look at ways in which we can begin to consolidate and harmonise that both at the national and at the international level. That presents, I think, some real difficulties for the WASH sector, particularly about who's going to lead around that harmonisation, who can take on a regulatory or a policeman role. And the point I was making on a panel yesterday comes back and bites us here, which is how do we step outside institutional egos? There are donors and organisations which are pushing forward their own initiatives, but we have to in some way let go of that when we want to drive this consolidation, which I think is desperately needed in the sector.
Okay, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the symposium.
Thank you.